Hello again, students. Today we're going to learn about that little word like and two different ways that we use it. Now, I think you've done the preparation already and looked at the picture of Mia. Now we are going to listen to 4 passages about Mia, and we're going to look at 4 questions. I want you to see which question goes with which passage. Before you listen, look at the boxes in 1. The first one says, "Do you like Mia?" Second one, "How's Mia?" and so on. Now you have to decide which of those conversations asks about her health, which one asks for a physical description, which one uses like as a verb, and which one means tell me about her in general.
Unit 6, Tape Script 6.1. Questions about Mia. 1.
Do you like Mia?
Yes, I do. I like her a lot.
2.
How's Mia?
She's fine, thanks. Very well.
3.
What's Mia like?
She's really nice, very friendly.
4.
What does Mia look like?
She's tall and she's got brown eyes and black hair.
So did you get all those? Let's go through them. The first one, which asks about her health, is 2. How's Mia? The second one, which asks for a physical description, is 4. What does Mia look like? So, what does Mia look like is asking for a physical description. It's asking you to describe her appearance. If somebody asked you to describe my appearance, you might say she's an older woman, she has wavy grey hair, and she's very tall, although you can't see that. The one which uses like as a verb is the first one, number 1. Do you like Mia? And so the last one, which means tell me about her in general, is 3. What's Mia like? What's Mia like is asking you to describe her in general. That means you could say something about her appearance. You can say anything about her because it's in general. But really it's more asking about her character or her personality. For example, if somebody asked about me in general, They might say, she's friendly, she's kind, she's interesting to talk to. Well, I hope that's what they'd say. So they could also say, well, she's very tall, or something like that as well. Maybe you can think of some more possible answers to those questions. Now let's look at the differences. Do you like Mia? You could say, yes, she's my best friend, or no, I can't stand her, or she's all right. Here, like is a verb. You already know this use of like. I like chocolate, for example. Many young people like Taylor Swift. John likes football. Then the second one, how's Mia? She's fine, thanks. Or she's very well. How is plus a name is asking about someone's health. If we want to say, ask about anything else, how's she doing, means how's she getting on with her life. 3. What's Mia like? Now this is a different meaning of like. Here it is not a verb. It's used when we want someone or something described. It can mean that the questioner is asking for a description of the appearance. But it can also mean they're asking about a person's character or personality. Mia, in her picture, looks relaxed and happy. She looks friendly. She looks good fun. She looks charming. She looks kind. She looks intelligent. What does Mia look like? This is asking only for a description of her appearance, not her personality. So, she's tall. She's got brown eyes and black hair. Except it doesn't look black to me, it's more dark brown. European people don't have black hair. She's pretty and she has a lovely smile. She's slim, not thin. Thin is when you need to eat a little bit more. It's not very attractive. Her hair is long and wavy. She's probably in her mid-20s, about 25. Now look at the box in 3. Try to match the questions in A with the answers in B. So you can see you've got a little space there, so you can put the numbers by the answers. I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. So now listen and check your answers.
Tape script 6.2. 1,
What's your teacher like?
She's great. She helps us a lot.
2,
What sports do you like?
Cycling and skiing.
3,
What does your brother look like?
He's got blonde hair and blue eyes.
4,
Do you like pizza?
I love it.
5,
What's the weather like today?
Lovely. Warm and sunny.
6,
How are your parents?
They're okay. Busy as usual.
Did you get all those? So, 1, 3 and 5, that's what's your teacher like? What does your brother look like? And what's the weather like? Like is a preposition. It's asking for a description. First one, of character or in general. Anything you can say about the teacher. Number 3, about the brother's appearance. And number 5, what the British people often talk about. What's the weather like? What is it, raining or sunny or cloudy or whatever? 2 and 4, like is a verb. And the last one, how are your parents? Asking about their health. But notice the response also says busy as usual. So you can add a little bit more to that question. Now we're going to look at practice 1 on the next page. Look at the picture of Shanghai below. Have you ever been to Shanghai? Doesn't matter if you haven't, but you may be able to add things if you have. What is it like? What's Shanghai like? So that's asking for a description of it. You could say anything you like about it. Mia travels for her job. She's talking to her friend Tom about Shanghai. Look at practice 1. You have got questions from Tom with gaps. And then Mia's answers. What do you think Tom's questions are? See if you can fill in the gaps with Tom's questions. I'll give you 2 minutes to try to do that, and then we'll listen to their conversation. So did you get all those? We'll go through the questions again to see what you should have put in. The first one, they've given you, what's Shanghai like? Apostrophe S, Shanghai, you should have put in the gap. What's the food like? Asking for a description of the food. So you should have put apostrophe S, the food. What are the people like? Asking for a description of the people. In the gap you should have put are the people. What was the weather like? Asking for a description of the weather. In the gap you should have put was the weather. And the last one, what are the buildings like? Asking for a description of the buildings. In the gap you should have put are the buildings. What are the buildings like? Now, it would be a good idea if you could practice that conversation with a friend. One of you be Tom and one Mia. Then it would be a good idea if you practiced saying the same questions about your own town, the town where you live. So remember, comparatives, the ER forms, explain, compare the difference between two people or two things. For example, I am taller than my colleagues. I am taller, ER. So I'm comparing myself with other people. The superlatives say what is the difference between one thing and a whole group. So, I am the tallest teacher in this school. There's only one of me. There's only one tallest usually. It can be a group, of course. The comparatives compare one thing with another, like Shanghai and Dubai. A superlative compares one thing or a group with the rest of the group. Now we're going to look at comparatives and superlatives. I'm sure you have done these before and you'll recognise them as we go along. Now, Mia also went to Singapore and Dubai. Look at the boxes on the right of the page where it says the city, business, etc. Now you're going to hear what Mia said about them. Listen carefully and put the right words in the gaps.
Tape script 6.4. Singapore, Shanghai and Dubai.
What did you think of Singapore? What's it like?
Well, Singapore is very old. It's older than Shanghai, but it's a lot smaller. Shanghai has a population of 20 million, and it's enormous. Shanghai is much bigger than Singapore, and it's much noisier too.
Oh, okay. What about business? What's it like to do business in these places?
Well, they're both top financial centres, but Singapore is more important. It's better for investment.
Ah, right. And the buildings? Are they all new?
Yeah, there are a lot of new buildings in Shanghai, so it's more modern than Singapore, but it isn't as cosmopolitan. Half the population of Singapore are foreigners.
Wow, really? What about Dubai? What's that like?
Dubai is the newest and youngest city, and it's the most modern. I like it because it has a can-do feel to it.
What about the climate in these places? What was the weather like?
It's interesting. Singapore is very near the equator, so it's a lot hotter than Shanghai. But it isn't as hot as Dubai. Dubai is the hottest place. When I was there, the temperature was over 40 degrees.
Wow, that's incredible.
Singapore is very humid, so it's wetter than Shanghai. But Dubai is the driest. It only rains for a few days a year.
Where did you like most of all? Where was best for you?
For me, Shanghai is the best because it's the busiest and the most exciting. There are so many things to do. The best restaurants, theatres, shops. It's got everything.
Right, we'll listen again now and check your answers and see if you can hear any more information. Try to remember it.
Tape script 6.4. Singapore, Shanghai and Dubai.
What did you think of Singapore? What's it like?
Well, Singapore is very old. It's older than Shanghai, but it's a lot smaller. Shanghai has a population of 20 million, and it's enormous. Shanghai is much bigger than Singapore, and it's much noisier too.
Oh, OK. What about business? What's it like to do business in these places?
Well, they're both top financial centres, but Singapore is more important. It's better for investment.
Ah, right. And the buildings? Are they all new?
Yeah, there are a lot of new buildings in Shanghai, so it's more modern than Singapore, but it isn't as cosmopolitan. Half the population of Singapore are foreigners.
Wow, really? What about Dubai? What's that like?
Dubai is the newest and youngest city, and it's the most modern. I like it because it has a can-do feel to it.
What about the climate in these places? What was the weather like?
It's interesting. Singapore is very near the equator, so it's a lot hotter than Shanghai. But it isn't as hot as Dubai. Dubai is the hottest place. When I was there, the temperature was over 40 degrees.
Wow, that's incredible.
Singapore is very humid, so it's wetter than Shanghai. But Dubai is the driest. It only rains for a few days a year.
Where did you like most of all? Where was best for you?
For me, Shanghai is the best because it's the busiest and the most exciting. There are so many things to do. The best restaurants, theatres, shops. It's got everything.
Did you get all those? It may have been a bit confusing because there was so much other information. So I'll give you the answers. The city. Singapore is older than Shanghai, but it's a lot smaller. A lot in the first gap. Shanghai is much bigger, so much in the second slot, much bigger than Singapore, and it's much noisier too, so it's much in the third slot. Business. They're both financial centres, but Singapore is more important. It's better for investment. So more there. buildings and people. Shanghai is more modern. Modern in that gap, first gap there, than Singapore, but it isn't as cosmopolitan. Dubai is the newest and youngest city. So the in the second space there, youngest in the third. And it's the most modern. Modern in the last one. Climate. Singapore is hotter than Shanghai. Hotter in the first one, but it isn't as hot as, so two as's. As hot as Dubai in the second one. Dubai is the hottest place. Singapore is very humid, so it's wetter than Shanghai, but Dubai is the driest. It only rains for a few days a year, the driest in the last one. Which is best? For me, Shanghai is the best. First one, best. Because it's the busiest. Second one, busiest. And the most exciting. Last one, most. Mia used a lot of comparatives and superlatives in that listening exercise. It would be a good idea if you underlined them. Comparatives end in ER, superlatives end in EST. Do that quickly. We'll give you a minute to do that. Now look at the grammar spot at the bottom of the page there. 1. What are the comparative and superlative forms of these adjectives? You have 4 boxes of 3 adjectives in each. I want you to write down both the comparative form and the superlative form. Okay? I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Right, let's look at those. In the first box, we have old, small and new. Old, the comparative is older, the superlative oldest, the oldest. Small, the comparative is smaller, the superlative the smallest. The is important in these. New, comparative newer, superlative the newest. Notice this group is all one syllable. The base word, old, small and new, is one syllable. So you just add ER or EST. The second box, busy, noisy, dry. Those words all end in Y. you change the Y to I. So you get busier, B-U-S-I-E-R, and the busiest, the superlative, B-U-S-I-E-S-T. Noisy, noisier, N-O-I-S-I-E-R. The noisiest, I-E-S-T. Dry becomes drier, D-R-I-E-R, and the driest, I-E-S-T, for the superlative. So the rule for those three is that adjectives ending in Y change to I before you add ER or EST. The next group, big, wet, hot. They all end in a consonant. When you make it a superlative or a comparative, you add another of the last consonant. So big becomes bigger, B-I-G-G-E-R, and the biggest, B-I-G-G-E-S-T. Wet becomes wetter, so W-E-T-T-E-R, and wettest, W-E-T-T-E-S-T. Hot, hotter, H-O-T-T-E-R, and hottest, H-O-T-T-E-S-T. So the rule here is short adjectives ending in one vowel plus one consonant. A vowel is A-E-I-O-U, remember? One vowel plus one consonant, you double the consonant and then add ER or EST. And the final group, important, modern, exciting. Now for these ones, you don't add EST or ER. We have to say more important for the comparative and the most important for the superlative. Modern, we have to say more modern for the superlative, the most modern. Exciting, for the comparative, we say more exciting. For the superlative, the most exciting. Now, this rule, adjectives of two syllables that don't follow the previous rule, i.e. one vowel and one consonant, like modern is two consonants, and adjectives of three syllables or more, we cannot put ER or EST on the end. It sounds very funny. So we use the words more or the most. Okay? Look at grammar spot 2. Some adjectives are irregular. They don't follow the same rule with ER and EST. For example, good and bad. I wonder if you know what the comparatives and superlatives of those two words are. For good, we have better and the best. For bad, we have worse and the worst. There are other irregular ones too, but not very many, not as many as there are irregular verbs. Then look at 3. We have expressions like a little, it's a bit, or a little bit bigger. There's a misprint there, it should be it's. It's a bit, or it's a little bigger. It's a lot smaller, or it's much smaller. And then in the negative, it isn't as hot as Dubai. That is also a misprint. It shouldn't be an apostrophe S there. It isn't as hot as Dubai. I hope you get on well with those. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.